What's up, my people? Welcome to the Mind Pursuit podcast, where we talk about anything and everything around the human mind. I am still with Madegwa, and we pick up from the last conversation. If you've not seen the previous ones, by all means, pause, check them out, and then thank me later. Feel free to tell a friend, share, and subscribe. So thank you once again for being here, Madegwa. And I'm really enjoying to hear your story of resilience is one word that stands out, even as I listen to you. So you talk about your high school journey, how you are able to bounce back even from the first, you encountered traumatic experiences, but I'm seeing how you're able to bounce back. There was a bit of comparison here and there as far as you and your sister is concerned. I'm seeing your uncle going to visit your sister and not coming to you because of how your behavior was. You keep on saying you are not good. And I don't know, what does that mean?
The black sheep.
The black sheep, yeah? So you always found yourself on the other side.
Yeah, sadly.
But you are aware. Of it. Yeah, so tell me more about, even as we come towards the close of your high school experience, towards now university. Was there any other highlights that you encountered from high school?
From high school, no, not really. But again, I think, when I finished high school, there was, I think there was expectation that I would perform well.
Yeah.
But let's just say I didn't get the grade to be called to a university. So it was an average grade.
Yes.
I got a C.
Yeah.
And I think to get to uni, you had to, I think, have like maybe B plus and above. Remember my older sibling, the golden child?
Yeah.
She was called to a university.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my elder sister was a huge part of my upbringing, and also just helping me to be who I am, because my sister, she used to be that person who everyone wanted to be around, like light attracting moth.
Wow.
And I really used to admire. I really didn't understand, Kwani, what does she have?
Yeah.
And she really performed really well. She was called to a uni. And I think that's the time when I thought that my dad had given up on me, because I didn't get a grade to go to uni, so I wasn't called. And of course, I think if you're in Kenya, there's normally that 1 year where you stay at home before going to uni. So we stayed the first year. Remember, I've not been called.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So the second year comes, and I'm seeing my dad. He's not even showing any
signs.
Any signs of asking me, so what is your plan? And me, I was just there, being amboj, taking care of my younger sister. So my elder sister had gone to Catholic University to study law. And me, I was here, planless. I still know I want to be a journalist, but I don't know how to get there because I didn't have the grades and all that. And for the first time, my dad did not try to push me. Because him, he pushes, so what is your plan? But he was very quiet this time around. So I don't know what was going on through his mind. But I normally say, I think it was a sort of, he used that to make me wake up, because I felt concerned because my dad was not concerned.
Yeah. It's so unlike
this is not like you, Daddy. Yeah. So my mom was like, you need to figure out your life, So that's when I saw an advert on the paper, Multimedia University. Then they used to be called KCCT. They had advertised for, guys wanted to study mass communication to send their applications.
Did you used to read newspapers?
No. I didn't.
You just happened to see it.
Those days when my uncle used to come visit with a newspaper, that's when I used to read. Actually, by then I did used to read, because my dad used to buy for us either Sunday Nation or Sunday Standard, because one of them had pullouts, either for teenagers or for children.
Yeah.
One of those two newspapers, either a Friday one or a Sunday one, one of those two. So I did used to read, but for me it was just entertainment, to just see, stories for kids, stories for what's going on, celebrities and all that. So my dad, so when I saw that, now I went to my dad, I told him, Daddy, I want to go. I was like, oh really? Ah, good. Apply. Like, oh, that is what you wanted. Yeah,
initiative.
I took initiative. I think that is what he wanted from me. Because to be honest, I think for him, he just wanted me to now bring myself together and have that discussion with myself. Like, you've joked too much. Now it is time. It is time for you to stay focused, to now become focused. So I applied, and he's the one who took the papers for me to the school, applied for me, and then I went to uni. I really loved university, by the way. And surprisingly, I think it, from that time, I shifted from being the child who doesn't focus, plays a lot and all that, to now I knew what I wanted to do. So I was very focused. In uni, I used to read a lot. You'd find me in the library most of the time. And I really used to pass, by the way. Compared to, in uni, you get there and, that's when you discover more Kenyans and all that. You used to see people without, they saw the exam even before it was there. They remove a whole paper of exam and they put it as it. But there is a lot of things in university. And there was always that temptation to always cheat on your exams. But because I wanted to prove to myself something, I can do this. If I put my mind towards it, I can do it. So never did I cheat in university. In as much as there was so much temptation to, and in as much as I knew that I am better than very many of these students, but they are passing, because they're cheating. There was that temptation, but I wanted to prove something to myself. So in uni, I performed really well. And then the first internship. So in between, you're supposed to go for internship. So my first internship, remember my uncle, the journalist?
Yes.
So he called in a favor and called his friend at Radio Africa, said, I have this niece who has done, journalism, and she needs internship for a couple of months. So he said, yeah, bring her. Let me tell you, Mercy, I was a joker in that. Those 3 months, I just used to go and look at celebrities. I did nothing. I just used to go and, oh my God, this is, I only see you on TV, I was starstruck. So I learned nothing. I wasn't, I think I forgot. I lost myself in there. I forgot what had brought me, for that internship. And
let me just take you back a bit. Kidogo too. You say, I see a turning point in terms of, you say you became more focused. What led to that?
It was that fear, because I'd never seen my dad, give up.
Or to you interpreted it as, by him keeping quiet, you interpreted it as him giving up.
Yes. I thought, my goodness, my dad has given up on me. And you see, my dad is the one who is so involved in our lives. My dad took for me papers, even to when I was doing my degree. Alinipelekea makaratasi, because I kept on saying, I will go, I don't have time. He said, my child, say less. What do you need? I will do it for you. So that's the type of dad that my dad is. So to see him just sit back, and
that's
I got scared, and it was a wake-up call for me. So I had to.
You had to style up.
So I went for internship. I was not serious. We were 2 guys. A good friend of mine, he now works for one of, international media houses. His name is Yusuf. We did the internship together. And then he was absorbed. And me, I was told bye-bye. They were very fast to give me back to write my recommendation and give it
to you.
So I was like, so now when, we used to chat with this friend of mine, Yusuf. And I'm like, I got the job, nini hapo. Aki, he was so hardworking. So when I went back to school, I again had to rethink, I was like, hey, what did I do wrong? Again, for me, it was a learning point. Of course, I could not have gotten a job then, but I would have wished that, they wanted me to stay, the way they wanted me to stay.
Please talk to interns. Like, just look at the camera and talk to them, because there are people who are getting in touch.
I'm coming there.
You're coming.
So now when I went back to school,
Yes.
so now I've seen, you know, things can change.
Yeah.
Because my friend Yusuf has gotten a job.
Yeah.
Fresh from college.
Yeah.
He got a job. So now when I went back, finished college, again my uncle called in the favor.
Yeah.
Said, you know, my niece has now finished. Now she needs again internship.
Yeah.
The friend was very gracious again.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, bring her. This time I went there saying, if there's nothing else I do,
Yes.
I will work so hard that these guys will want me to stay.
Wow.
Yes, I was an intern. So I went back, I found my friend Yusuf. He had thrived there. Of course. They had a whole radio station. That's how Radio Jumbo, he was among the pioneers of Radio Jumbo. Because he went in and saw a need. There wasn't Radio Jumbo when we had joined Radio Africa. He went there, saw a need. There was a Swahili audience. There was no one to produce Swahili news. Yeah. So he came in. He used to do so many extra things. He just used to see me, hey, can you stay even after hours? I mean, I can't, you know. But now when I came back with a new vision and a new mindset. A new perspective, because I knew what I wanted. I thought of, before internship, I'd stayed home for like 1 month, doing nothing. Me and the TV, you get so bored, you become ambotch in that house. I used to take my sister to school, come back, cook lunch, clean the house, do everything. I was like, I can't live like this, you know? So when my dad called in that favor again, called my uncle called in the favor, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be out of that house. Yeah. I wanted a job, you know? So I went in with a new perspective. Mercy, I worked hard. The internship was supposed to be 6 months. They extended it. No, it was 3 months. They extended to 6 months because they could see the value of my work. Yes. When it got to 6 months, they were like, they extended again. And then at a certain point, they were like, it's against labor laws for us to have an intern past a certain period. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take you in as a correspondent, you know, because we don't want to lose you. So we'll take you in as a correspondent and then you can be paid based on the number of stories. I was like, paid on the number of stories. I will write as many stories
as possible.
As humanly possible. Wow. They had to say, okay, you are doing too many stories. We'll cap your pay at this. Specific. But you say I didn't mind because I knew at the end of the day I wanted a job. Yes. And let me tell you, I used to be the first in the office. Okay, other than the guys used to come in to prepare news for morning, I always used to get to the office by around 6:30. Majorly because it was very cheap to get a matatu there. So you saved at that time. I saved fare, but also I knew what I wanted. So I used to come in early, go through all the newspapers, know what's happening in the country. I used to watch news like every single day. Me and my dad, I used to not understand why my dad used to watch news. But now I was like, Daddy, put Citizen, put NTV. I want to compare how these guys have tackled the same story, you know, because I knew what I wanted. Oh, wow. So I used to get into the office very early. I used to leave late. I never used to mind, by the way. And work over the weekend. Yes, I am available. Remember, I'm an intern.
Unajituma.
Nilijituma, kujituma. Until it came to a certain point where the news readers used to want me to work with them, especially over the weekend. Because over the weekend it's very difficult to get news. So you have to be very well prepared. The news readers used to say, I want Diana to be in my shift. Oh, wow. So you see, there, you know, I've created value for myself. So based on that, and, you know, one of my mentors was, you know, a lady called Carol Radul. You know, when she came in, because she still used to work at Radio Africa, but in another department. So when she came back to the news department, she was like, I've heard very good things about you. Wow. The first thing she came and did, she got me a job. I got my first contract with her. Yes, because she was like, I've heard very good things about you. Yes. I believe what other people are saying about you, so I will get you a contract. And she did. And you know, I know she doesn't remember me from the first internship because again, she used to be the head of news then. I'm sure she does not remember. She's the one who wrote my name very quickly to get rid of me. But you see, when I came back,
Yes.
she saw my value.
Yeah.
And she got me a contract and I got hired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so powerful.
Yes.
And that speaks about people in leadership. You know, sometimes, because you are in leadership as we speak, so sometimes you can be so immersed into that leadership and forget the people the mentees.
Yes.
And they're the ones who are able to
That's
see.
so
Are you
true.
able to, did you touch their lives?
That's
Were
so
you
true.
impactful? Yeah.
And you see, because of that, and when I joined media, when I was an intern and all that,
Yes.
again, there were some people who were around me who also helped me. You know, they extended that grace because they saw that I wanted to learn. So they took me by the hand.
Wow.
Like, you want to know how to write a story?
Yeah.
I will show you.
Wow.
You know, this is the story you have done.
Yes.
We are changing it because of 1, 2, 3. We used to, and we went through those things.
Yes.
We had a certain editor, his name is Henry.
Yeah.
Hey, he was tough. I remember there's a day Henry made me question being a journalist. I'd gone for a press conference. I missed the story by miles. Like, it was a big story. It was a breaking news story. Me, I went for the press conference. I sat there. I missed because I was an intern. You know, before you grasp it, you know, it takes time. So I sat in that nini. I went with very many big names in other media houses. Guys texted. Remember, I'm getting stipend of 5,000 shillings. So this money is supposed to be my transport, my lunch, my airtime. Then I think sending a text message was like 3 shillings.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Every coin counts.
Every coin counts. So I remember, you know, I went for this press conference. It was a very big press conference. They announced something big. People texted, you know, the story. It broke on Twitter everywhere.
Whoa.
My editor, he was very calm. We went for a meeting. So of course they picked it from other news sources. The story aired. I remember we are a radio station.
Yes.
So breaking news is breaking news.
Yes.
Like, there's, you know, news every hour.
Yeah.
You cannot sleep on the job. It's not like a newspaper where it's tomorrow. Radio is now.
Yeah.
So I missed the story.
Yeah.
I remember going for a meeting with him, and he asked me, why did you miss the story? And I had, but there's nothing I could tell him.
Wow.
I didn't know, you know. So I remember, in as much as he did not like talk to me badly, but I think for me there, he made me question being a journalist, and I also had to now ensure that I was very keen. You know, every time I go, no matter how useless you might think something is, just spend that coin, spend that shilling, and send it to your boss. They'll decide on whether or not they find it useful or not. Yeah.
So I'm seeing you learning.
And you see him, he's among those people who also extended that grace. So he taught me. The other people in that department also held my hand. I can mention a number of people. A friend of mine called Susan Kimasha. She's a very well-known person in the radio industry. The Akina, you know, a guy called James was called Kinywa, another called Cornelius. They mentored me, you know, speaking to the value of mentorship. They mentored me through that journey. Yeah.
And that you're who you are because you're able to step on their shoulders.
Exactly. And that they were so gracious to me. And it also made me realize when you're in a newsroom, it's very fast moving.
Yes.
So you can easily forget people who are, you know, juniors, your juniors, especially the interns. Because if you feel like this one is not grasping, the good thing is that me, I used to grasp very fast, but there are people who do not grasp very fast. And I think at a point in my career, when at least I'd, you know, risen up to be one of the editors, I could see there were some interns who were struggling and no one had time for them, you know. And that's where my passion for mentoring young people came in. So I used to sit with them, you know, when I had the time, because I helped edit some of those stories. So I used to sit with them, you know, sit here. This is the story you have written. This is how I have edited it. Can you see where, you know, where you went wrong, where, you know, what you can learn from this and all that. And it really, it was good because I can say that there are some, you know, some young people that I mentored who eventually got hired, you know, and for me it was fantastic seeing them. You know, my children, you know, when they came, they were so young, they were so green.
Wow.
But because I was there and I held their hands and showed them, eventually they got tired.
Wow.
Yeah.
So mentorship is something, and it doesn't take anything from you.
It takes nothing, by the way. It takes nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, it helps you because you save on time. Because you see these guys that I mentored, how to write a story.
Yes.
Now they wrote better stories. So it gave me less time editing their stories. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It costs nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you encourage any mentor, anyone who's a leader. Now you're speaking to leaders.
Yeah.
Please.
I believe in the power of mentorship and extending grace to people who are junior to you.
Yes.
You know, sometimes it may look like it's so much work.
Yeah.
But the end justifies the means. Yes. You know, if you see the fruit.
Yes.
Of that labor.
Yeah.
The labor is not in vain. It's not in vain at all. And just extend grace. Extend grace because not everyone is like you.
Yeah.
And also remember your humble beginnings because we did not come out like this.
You actually paid it forward.
Exactly. That is the word. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. Because you did not emerge. Yes. I can't tell you that I am who I am because I'm perfect or I just woke up and learned everything by myself. I didn't. People taught me.
Wow.
People held my hand.
Absolutely.
And so many people from my days in media up to where I am today.
Yes.
Many people held my hand. Yeah. You know. And if you can just extend
grace,
even if it's a very small level of grace, according to what you can offer, please extend. Please extend it to people. You will. It might seem like it's so much right now at the moment, but in future we look back. You look back and be very happy with what you've done, and people actually remember.
People remember. They forget what you tell them. Maya Angelou said, they forget what you told them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly, that's true. You know, like you see me, I'm remembering each and every person who walked with me. I remember them by name. You know, I remember them, and I'm so grateful for them just putting in that time for me. You know, because it helped me become who I am today. Yeah. And if I can do it for someone, by all means, I will do it. I will do it for the next generation, for whoever. You know. Whoever I can. And sometimes people normally say that sometimes I run myself thin. But I look at the rewards. I look at the reward and I'm like, you know what? It's all worth it. It's all worth it. There is one of in my former team. I worked with very young people. Yeah. We had some Gen Zs there, and I love listening to young people because they have very crazy out of this world ideas, you know. But when you listen to them, like, it's a crazy. Let's try it, and then we see. And I've learned from these young people. You know,
you learn a lot.
Me and my rigid ways. Like, this is a good idea. And you know, in boardrooms, people say, Daniel, you're doing an amazing job. I'm like, no, I have a team. This was not even my idea. It wasn't my idea. It was so and so's idea. Again, also having people who mention, you know, if you're a leader and there's a group of young people that you're working with, not even, you know, let's just say you're juniors, and you know that it's your junior who had this idea. Please mention them. Please mention them.
It doesn't take from you.
It doesn't, because at the end of the day, you are the leader of that team. Because if you know something wrong happens, it will fall on you. You know, so as well, you know, mention their names because you never know who is listening. I remember there's a time, you know, one of my team members, very young, he used to be very scared, and used to, you know, I used to send him. I used to be very scared of our country director, where I work at the moment. Our country director, and I used to tell him, you know, I will send you to go to the field
Yes.
with this person. You go and share your ideas with her.
Yeah.
Because as we interact, very many times I interact
like
with
you
her.
give them opportunity.
Yes, I interact with the country director very many times during our catch-up meetings and all that.
Yeah.
And when you tell her, you know, I really like this person and I want you to hire him or her.
Yes.
She used to be like, Diana, no, you. Again, she used to say I like to fall in love with my interns, which is true. But it's because I see their potential. So many times I went to my country director, say,
Yes.
can you please hire this intern?
Yeah.
Because they're so good. And she's, Diana, no. You can't be falling in love with your interns all the time.
Yeah.
But now I got to a point where I needed to show her the value of why I'm fighting for this person. So what did I used to do? I used to send, if she had an event or you know had to travel somewhere, I used to send her with one of my team members so that she sees for herself why I'm fighting for these people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And you know, there's a time that she came back and told me, I have seen and it's fine. We will put money and we will hire this person.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
So sometimes,
and you know you've changed this person's life forever.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that I have. I'd like to believe that I have.
Because you're giving them an opportunity that no one, if you didn't say about it, who
would have?
And that's why we say you're the only Jesus that people are going to see.
I know.
And feel.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, what would Jesus do?
Yeah. If you see potential. Yeah. And I see you have a big heart.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
I like to give people opportunity if it's possible.
Yeah.
And I believe that God has put me in places for a reason.
Yeah.
Not just for me, you know. And a lot of this I've learned from my husband, because my husband believes in, you know, believing in people and, you know, being put in a place for a reason, for a certain purpose and for a certain vision. So I've learned this from him. So if you have to have a vision as a person, and of course you have to know, what are we supposed to do in this world? Why has God put us here? Here. And exactly. What is your purpose? You know, in this world, you know, absolutely. So that when your time is done, you can actually say, I touched so many lives. Even if it's not so many, even if it's just one. Yeah. It's
important. Thank you so much for sharing about your career trajectory.
Yeah.
I want to hear, because you've mentioned your husband. So and you mentioned about your child. So tell us, children. Your children. Yes. So tell us, as a career, because I'm seeing you rise up the ladder. You're mentoring people at workplace. You have children, you have a husband. How do you is there a way in which you're able to balance all this?
I can tell you for sure it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But like my friend Susie, your sister, likes to say, there are rubber balls and there are glass balls. You need to figure out which ones, if they drop, they will bounce back. And those that, if they drop, they will break. And I also learned this from one of my mentors. She's called Rahadia Chogo. She's a good mentor of mine, and she speaks a lot in, you know, in spaces of marriage. So when you get to realize and understand which are rubber balls and which are glass balls, then you'll be able to know. Like for me, career, fantastic. I have grown in the career space, but I also need to realize that careers come and go. You know, there are people who had it all career-wise, you know, they was CEO and they forgot about their families. And you know, when you are in at the top of your career and then you lose it. If it was the center of your universe and you forgot all about your family, who are you coming back to? No one. So for me, it's been, definitely there are some days it's been very difficult to juggle and try to ensure that this, for me, my family is my glass.
Or glass ball.
Yeah, glass ball. Every other thing, rubber. But also family relationships are very important, because remember, relationships are what also helped me get to where I am.
They are doors.
Yeah, the doors that opens because of the relationship that I've built over the years. And then for me, rubber balls are things like career, in as much as we think that, you know, having money is the it, but for me, having a family, having someone that I can, you know, go back to cry, shoulders to cry on, you know, I know my husband, I don't take him for granted, because even in my trajectory, he's been there. He knows the good days, the bad days, the days when I wanted to quit because my bosses were just a mess, because the job was just not it for me. And he's been there, encouraging me, saying you can do it. The day I told my husband, there's this short-term contract that I want to take. My boss like, you know what? If it makes you happy, do it. I am here to support you. And you know, he removed such a huge burden that I had, because I was thinking, this is a very short-term contract. What if it ends? I won't have a job. But you know, when he said that, I was like, let me just do this, because he'd removed such a big burden. And now I knew that, you know, he has my back. You know, he has my back in case things don't go the way that, you know, I hope they will go. There's this person who will. Who will help me. So it's I think just knowing what is important for you. There's some people that, you know, maybe family isn't important for them, career is. Just knowing what is important for you and knowing how to juggle that, you know.
So knowing that everyone's journey is different.
Everyone's journey is very different, by the way.
But you've painted out a picture that you can be aggressive career woman, but still submissive and still hold your family so dear.
I have to.
Because you actually understand that you hold your family with a lot of prestige, and you say it is a glass ball. You prioritize it. These others will come and go.
They'll come and go. It's true. Because someone told me, I love my workplace because they're really very big on well-being. Someone told me, Diana, you'll be hit by a car when you're leaving work.
Yes.
We'll send an advert. We will say, oh, she was such a good colleague. Next week we'll advertise for your role.
Absolutely. And forget.
My family will mourn me for the rest of my children will not have a mother. My husband will not have a wife. My siblings will not have a sister. My parents will have lost a daughter.
Yes.
But my workplace, they will replace me. The following week, they'll have interviews, people lining up for my job.
And the sad state is, now they know your name, God forbid, and of course you're not going to die anytime soon. They even forget who you. They start calling.
They forget. This girl was here. She used to be very good at her job.
They don't even remember your name.
Because you see, people will have come and go. So they'll be like, there was someone. So many years ago, there's a team we really used to know, good in communication. But my family, family. And again, you mentioned that issue about submission.
Yes.
For me, it's very important because it's in the Bible. You know, they ask wives to submit to their husband. And I know that, you know, people will think it's very old school. But for me, I follow God. I follow what God says about me, about my life. And the Bible says that I need to submit to my husband. And I know that for him it's very important. You know, having a submissive wife. Because let me tell you, Mercy, I used to be very independent before I got married. And I struggled with submission. Even sometimes now, I do struggle sometimes, but I also need to remember, who am I doing this for? For me, it's God. You know, at the end of the day, God is my foundation. And I need to remember that even when I struggle, God can see that I'm really trying. I'm really trying to work on myself to be able to submit to my husband. And I see that it makes my husband, you know, be a good leader because he's the head of the home. The Bible says that, you know, the husband is the head of the household. I have seen me being the independent person that I am, being 5 girls. Sometimes there are things that we used to do for ourselves. But, you know, when I became married, I had to change my perspective a little bit because I understand about the whole issue about submission. Oh,
wow. Thank you so much for sharing.
Welcome.
And we are so glad to host you.
Thank you.
In this,
Thanks for having me.
We've been doing a series called Do It Scared. Even as you do your parting shot, what's that one thing that you did scared?
Remember, you know, when you were beginning, when I say there's something that, you know, I decided to jump into without knowing.
Yes.
God telling me, trust me in this.
Yes.
So I work for an NGO, and where I was, it was a very, I'd become comfortable.
Yes.
There are things that you just know, wake me up in the middle of the night and I will do it. And I will do it, even with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
So I was very comfortable. And then there's this opportunity that it was very short term.
Okay.
That came in, and I decided to do it. It was very short term. I don't know what the future holds, to be honest, but I said I will do it.
Wow.
I will do it, and I will trust God.
Wow.
Am I scared?
Yes.
Yes, I am, because I have no idea what is in store for me in future, in a couple of months. But I trust God. Wow. I trust that God knows. He has ordained my steps. As in, there is nothing that I can say I have done that, did not have God in that picture. Looking back, I see, even, from the beginning when I joined media, I went into PR, I went into government. God has been walking this journey with me. When I joined NGO, I can't say I was the less qualified, but I was the only one in that space. We were 4 people who were being interviewed. I was the only one who did not have NGO experience. But God. Even I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? You guys?
Yes.
You picked me?
Yeah.
Favor. And even talking to the country director, because I normally say God put her in that panel because she came and wanted something totally different. So even when speaking to her after she had hired me, and Diana, we knew we wanted you in the first 2 minutes of that interview. Stop. What?
Wow.
I remember I had, spoken to the other, guys who had come for the interview, and they were telling me, I've worked with this big NGO. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, let me just do this.
I am here.
Let me just do it. But even hearing from her, saying that, I normally say God put her there.
Wow.
For such a time as that. Wow. And, she picked me. And, the entire journey, I was scared because I was coming into a very new field. I did not know how things were being done. And I was so happy because I got someone who wanted something completely different.
Yes.
Yeah. And even now, still in the same organization, but got a very short-term contract. But scared, yes, because I don't know tomorrow. But I remind myself, God has been in this picture from the very beginning. He has ordained my steps,
Absolutely.
There's nothing that is too hard for him. So I'm just here, I'm like, God, this is your child.
Yes.
You do you. I don't embarrass yourself. No, you cannot embarrass yourself. Show off with me.
Absolutely.
The way you have shown off. Continue showing off with me.
I love it. Yeah. So I see Christ being your anchor.
He is.
Oh, trust me in this.
And Christ is my anchor. Yeah, he has got you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know you've encouraged so many who have listened to us. So as a career woman, you can actually be a career woman and submission. Somebody said submission is power under authority.
Yeah. Just us as Christians.
Yes.
We like to submit to our pastors.
Yeah.
But we do not want to submit to our husbands. So
error. And that's a whole kind of wrong.
Yeah. So
but it's the truth.
Yeah. You're there submitting. You are working in church at ministry from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yes.
You do not want to submit to your husband, but you're saying that you're submitting to your pastor. What does the Bible say?
Good question.
That Bible that you are saying.
Yeah.
That pastor is following that Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question and a good challenge.
Yeah.
So Christians, and we align ourselves. Remember glass ball and rubber balls. So at the end of the day, when all is said and done, family is king. So take care of your family. Thank you so much for coming on board. We are really glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So I hope you have really been enlightened. Oh gosh, a lot of gems, resilience, bouncing back, being able to be focused, following one course until successful. I see that the journalism from 12 years through. Yeah. And see what the open doors, mentorship, being mentored, and allowing yourself to mentor other people. Oh gosh, a lot you can be able to get from this episode. So I hope you have been replenished. I hope you have been incited. I hope you have been motivated to become the best version of yourself. See you on the next one, and remember to subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and share. See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.